Hey guys, welcome back to our channel Accounts Guru Cool. Learn accounting online. So today we are here with one more video, and this video we have created or creating based on the request of our viewers. And the one query what we have received in our inbox is that related to the complex journal entry question asked by a interviewer in R2R profile. When the interview was going there, the interviewer asked these questions, and that's what he asked, and how it's going to be complex journal entry, and how we have to give the answer for that. That we are going to discuss in this video. And here, what we just want to inform the one thing is that if you know the answer of these questions, then this answer for this question itself is going to be create a more than 50% chances of you to be land into the R2R, because this question itself is around complex related to the complex journal entry, and going to be how the uh, impact of different processes into the R2R, and how it's going to be, and what journal entries we have to pass, and how the answer we have to give for this. That's all we are going to discuss in this video. So request viewers to watch the video till the end, like the video, share the video, and subscribe our channel to get the more practical knowledge related to accounting and finance. In addition to this, if you being as a viewers also face any issues, or you are not able to give the answer for any interview or ask the questions related to the accounting and finance, you can send it to us on our email ID. We'll create the video for that, and we'll give the answers how you have to give to the interviewer. So now this is as it is the questions from the viewers. Just wanted to discuss the below query asked by an interviewer in R2R profile. If you could clarify this, it will be great. The questions are: company A Limited has contract with vendors B Limited to provide the services from Jan 2022 to December 2022 for the amount of 2,40,000. In Jan to April, we received the services, and in April, we just received the invoice of 2,40,000. What will be the journal entry from Jan to April 2022? Could you please provide the solutions for this, or in a videos? So instead of giving the solution for the one viewer, it's better to create a video on that, because that's going to be helpful for our entire viewers. So that's reasons we are here with this video. So from this question, first you have to just calm down and to understand the complexity of these transactions, what interviewer want to know, and how you have to give the answer for that. So the first, you are as a limited company, the service provider is B Limited. Next, this is related to the services. Second, the contract period is from Jan 2022 to December 2022, and the contract value is, it's 2,40,000. Okay, so it's 2,40,000. The duration is covered from Jan to December is 12 months. So total duration is going to be covered as a 12 month. Then how much is a per month charges? So per month is going to be, this is for per month, is around 20,000. That's the bifurcation of these entire questions. Now your contract is start. So your contract started in Jan 2022 and you have received, so you have received invoice in April 2022, but that invoice is received for entire service period. And that's 2,40,000. Okay, so now this is the details. So here, the A Limited is a service receiver, B Limited is a service provider. The contract is for Jan to December. Contract value is 2,40,000. The per month is 20,000. Contract is for 12 months. And the contract started from Jan 2022, received invoice in April 2022, but the invoice is received for 2,40,000. Now the question, what will be the journal entry from Jan to April 2022? So what's the journal entry you are going to pass into the system? That's the interviewer's questions. And this is a details bifurcation of that particular questions. Now here, there are 3 entries are going to be passed, or you can say, yeah, that's 3 entries you have to give the answer to the interviewer. That's the first. And how it's going to be work in this transaction is that the first is going to be coming to the pictures. That's your provision for expenses as on 31st March 2022. Second is your actual booking of the invoice. Third is related to your reversal of provision. And when we are booking the actual of the invoice, that time itself, it's going to be take care of prepaid expenses. So in one questions, interviewer is going to get an clarity about all these 4 transactions. And that's reasons this one questions itself is going to be give the interviewer as a confidence more than 50 to 60%, is that you have the fair idea about the journal entries. And that's going to be covered in only one single questions. And this is very essential for all of you viewers to know that how it's going to be work and how you have to give the answer to interviewer. Yeah. And if this is considering the Indian entity, try to understand that this is going to be considered as a Indian entity. Or if it's a US entity as well, then you have to, if you are doing the entry on accrual basis, then the provision is going to be coming to the pictures. But here we are exclusively giving the focus towards the considering that as an Indian entity, how it's going to be work. So knowing that we have to close the books as on 31st March 2022, and as per the GAAP, that's the general accepted accounting principles, and we do the accounting on accrual base. So we have to ensure whatever the expenses is incurred, but we haven't received the invoice for that, we have to create the provision for that expenses in the books. So as on 31st March, based on this contract and knowing that the service has already been rendered, we have to create the provision into the books. We are not discussing anything about TDS portion. Just we are talking about journal entry for basic. And if the interviewer want to know more about the TDS portion as well, how it's going to be work, then specifically you have to ask that either he just want to know the journal entry or he want to know from the taxation standpoint as well. Otherwise, in this entry itself, he is able to know about the tax portions as well. So in a one entry, he is going to have the clarity about the TDS, prepaid expenses, your reversal of provision, actual booking of the invoice, and the provision for expenses. And this one question is going to be help you to crack the entire interview on journal entries related to the journal transactions. What's the accrual base? If it's on accrual base, then what will be the entry as on 31st March? That's assuming that this is a training and consultancy services or the training services, training expenses account is debit, and the amount, you know how much is the per month charges is 20,000 from the Jan, Feb, March for this 3 month. For this 3 month, you have to pass the entry this 20,000 into 3 for 60,000. And the second, that's a provision for expenses. That's going to be account credit, and that's for 60,000. And here we are not discussing about the TDS. If the TDS are there, then that's also is going to be considered here. But we are going to consider only related to this portion as of now. So the first entry, and this entry is going to be as on 31st March 2022. If you have already created provision in the books for all the month, for the Jan, Feb, and March, if every month you are creating the provisions, then the 3 provisions are going to be into the books. One is as on Jan for 20,000, second as on Feb for 20,000, and third as on 31st March for 20,000. Or if you haven't booked any provision on monthly basis, knowing that this is a year end, we have to create the provision in the books for training expenses account debit for 60,000. And this you have to mention that provision for Jan to March 2022. This is for 60,000, 60,000. Now, the next, when you have received the invoice in the month of April 2022, what entry you are going to be passed? So you have to pass the entry knowing that that invoice contract value is for 2,40,000, and that's going to be covered the period from Jan to December 2022. So here you have to pass the entry for only the durations which are going to be covered from Jan to April. And that's a Jan, Feb, March, April for 4 months. That's 80,000. Then what entry you have to pass? That's your training expenses account debit. It's going to be for your 4 month. That's 80,000. And respect to your this out of this 40,000, this 80,000 is for training expenses. This is from Jan to April, and the remaining amount you are going to park into prepaid expenses. That's a prepaid expenses account debit, and that's going to be this 2,40,000 minus this 60. So 1,60,000 is going to be parked into the prepaid expenses. And the next is going to be your B limited. That's a B is your service provider. That's a B limited account credit. Yes, B limited. And that's going to be credit with this entire amount is 2,40,000. Try to understand here again, we are not discussing about the TDS portion. On this invoice, you have to deduct the TDS as well, but we are just trying to give the more clarity about the journal entry. And if it's related to P2P, when actually we have to book the invoice, then the TDS is going to be deducted on this. that we'll discuss with direct tax. So the training expenses account debit, prepaid expenses account debit to your B limited account credit for 2,40,000. And the next, you have to do the reversal of these provisions as on 30th April 2022, and your entry is going to be this provision for expenses account is going to be debit for 60,000, and your training expenses account is going to be credit for 60,000. And this is going to be considered as reversal of provision is going to be 60,000. Now, this is the expected answer from the interviewer standpoint, how it's going to be if the service is started from the Jan to December, and if I have received the invoice in the month of April 2022, if knowing that the financial year end as on 31st March, there might be or must be created the provision in the books for training expenses for the Jan, Feb, and March. In the month of April, we have to book as a training expenses account debit for 80,000 for the Jan, Feb, and March, and April. Remaining portions we have to park into the prepaid expenses, and we have to credit to our vendors for 2,40,000. And what we have considered the provision as on 31st March, that provisions we have to do the reversal as on 30th April 2022. That's a provision for expenses account debit to training and expenses account credit. So in April, if you see, this is related to the particular April, how much is expenses is going to be shown into the books. One is debit for 80,000 and second is credit of 60,000. In April P&L, you are able to see the actual for the April is 20,000 is there as an period to date. That's a PTD expenses. And this is related to these actual expenses pertaining to the April. You have the scope to give the one answer. That's a training and expenses account debit for 80,000, prepaid expenses account debit 1,60,000, and the vendor account credit for 2,40,000. And in addition to that, if you give the answer as knowing 31st March is year end, if you have the provision in the books, then provision we have to create as on 31st March. We have to book the training expenses for 4 months remaining for prepaid, and we have to do the reversal of that provisions in the same month. And every month going forwards, we have to month on month do the reclassification of the expenses from prepaid expenses to our trading expenses. That's the expected answer for these questions. And once you give all this scenario to the interviewer, I'm damn sure that you are going to be selected for that in that profile, because this is going to be give the entire overview of your understanding, and the expected answer is like this. You have to present to the interviewers, and based on that, he is able to know that you have the in-depth knowledge about the journal entry. So that's all from this video, and I hope all our viewers are able to know how to give the answer for such questions and how to crack the interview, and how the one interview questions is going to be give the clarity to the interviewer in all the aspect. That's you can say the 360-degree questions on complex journal entry. So if you have any such questions with you, or if ever you have faced the R2R interview and they ask and you are not able to give the answer for that, send us on our email ID, that's accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. We'll create the video for that, and that's going to be helpful for all of our viewers. So thanks guys for watching the video till the end, and request viewers to like the video, share the video, and subscribe our channel to get the more practical knowledge related to accounting and finance. Thank you.